Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode about the movies with William Fletcher. As per usual, I am your host, William Fletcher, and joined for the annual Christmas Spectacular by two guests because it's such a special day, and as I have been many, many times in the past, by Mr. Barney Metcalf.
Hello.
Taking after a bit of a hiatus from the show, the returning Harry Jobson.
This is where you edit in a round of applause, some woos and some cheers. Everyone settle down. I'd just like to dedicate this to the family that has supported me to let me come back to this podcast, and the amazing mobile data plan I use that allows me to have enough data to record this.
No, we haven't said, but because we're going out on Christmas Day, so that'll be fine. Instead of don't spend time with your family, like forget them. Just listen to the podcast. Just listen to three 20-year-old dickheads just talk about a movie from the 1940s. Just talk about. We're going to talk about It's a Wonderful Life this week because people decided. I did a poll on a Discord server, and this was the one that got the most votes. Which, I mean, I have mixed feelings on. Not because I dislike the film per se, because I don't.
I just feel like we could have done Home Alone.
But we could have, yeah. So just for those of you listening, I will reveal what the choices were. So I chose 6 different films for us to cover. So It's a Wonderful Life is what we're covering this week. But I also put on the poll Die Hard, because Die Hard, Home Alone, Whistle Down the Wind, Miracle on 34th Street, and Gremlins. Because those were sort of the wide...
That's an interesting combination of films.
The sort of...
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, half of those I hadn't seen already. So I chose Whistle Down the Wind, Miracle on 34th Street, and Gremlins because I hadn't seen any of them, and that would have been a good excuse to watch them. Then Home Alone, because it's kind of a real childhood thing for me. It's a Wonderful Life because it's one of the most beloved films of all time, and Die Hard because it's the best. So, but we're not covering Die Hard.
I understand and respect your reasoning there, but I was a little taken aback when you gave me the options to vote, and I didn't see the Santa Claus or A Christmas Story or Polar Express or Nightmare Before Christmas or the Santa Claus 2 or the Santa Claus 3 versus Jack Frost.
Well, if we had done Home Alone, we would have done all the Home Alone films. I would have.
Oh yeah, I think that was on the same way as our Planet of the Apes episode, and as we went on, we just kept more.
It's just like
I still haven't seen the 5th one yet.
Really good. The other one.
Shit, it's actually one of the better ones.
I've seen the first 4, and then I've seen the Disney Plus one, which is appalling.
Oh god, I've seen that too. That's dreadful.
It also seems to me a little bit you've gone for a couple of films in there that aren't directly, like, specifically influenced by Christmas. I mean, they are, right?
I had no
but
idea
there are some contentious,
like,
yeah. The arguments have started.
No, but I just mean
I'm not arguing. I had no idea that Whistle Down the Wind was anything to do with Christmas.
I understand the whole Die Hard.
Whistle Down the Wind, Crystal. I haven't seen it, but yeah.
Yeah. I understand the whole is Die Hard a Christmas movie like a fun argument, but to me, it's just as white as the does pineapple belong on pizza argument. It's vanilla as shit. Like, it doesn't matter. I like, if you want to call Die Hard a Christmas movie, call it a Christmas movie, but it's contentious to a lot of people. In the same, I think Gremlins is as well. Because, yeah, they get the Gremlins, but it's not like the movie's called Gremlins, not like a Gremlins Christmas. If that makes sense.
This is called
like,
It's a Wonderful Life, not It's a Wonderful Christmas Life.
Exactly. No, you're exactly right. like it's set at Christmas, but like it's not. And it is a Christmas movie. I'm happy to call it a Christmas movie. It just seems like with some of the choices that you put on there, again, there's movies where a guy literally kills and becomes Santa. And then
Incredible.
Uh,
Just there's some more obnoxiously Christmas movies that I feel like you could have gone for.
Last year we did Love Actually. Yeah, I did Love Actually last year, which I didn't particularly care for. Yeah. I think, Harry, you were a fan. Well, not a fan, but you didn't dislike Love Actually from my memory, Harry. You thought it wasn't like
I've stated over the how many episodes have I been on this podcast? Like, you reckon 100? You reckon close to 100 episodes?
Quite a few.
Maybe
you've done over amongst the most. You've done definitely more than like most people who have done this.
I think I've made it stated in almost every single one that I come with the most vanilla consumerist opinion of like thinking that Sausage Party's funny kind of opinion. Or I'm just like, I'm here to enjoy the movie. I'm not here to like, as much as we can speak about it critically, and I feel like we technically as well, and theoretically, it's also like how much you enjoy the movie. And boy, I've made it stated that I am a fan of rom-coms.
Yeah,
but Christmas. The idea of Christmas films.
Christmas, where this will be out on Christmas Day, where we're all together in the studio because we all. This is how we do podcasts. We always record together in the same studio, and there's a nice log fire. We do still opt to do it over the internet. Just we're all sitting at opposite ends of the room. That's why my audio cuts out sometimes. Yeah.
It's really far away.
We bring our own equipment from home, so it's like up to us how it's all set up. So that's why there's like different qualities. It's not like one setup for us all. It's we all set it up our own ways. So everything's a bit different, and it adds to the charm of the show. It's a Wonderful Life is a beloved film that I hadn't seen until this year. I was aware of it, and I'll get into what I was aware of as we go on. But I'll say this: what I was aware of, big part of the film. I was genuinely surprised when I watched it. I'm like, oh, this is the plot. It's about this guy, and he sees what life would be like if he didn't exist. And that's not really the film until the last 30 minutes. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, this is the right movie. And I'm like, yeah, it's this Jimmy Stewart.
And it follows a roughly 2-hour runtime as well.
Yeah, it's like 2 hours and 10 minutes.
It is like, that bit is like the most iconic element of the film. And it's not even a big part of the film. It's like how Hannibal Lecter is so iconic in Silence of the Lambs, and he's in it for like 20 minutes. It's like...
Not even that, I think.
But It's a Wonderful Life is, it's everybody. I mean, I don't know where you land on this one because this is the film where there's a lot of elements where, to me, I could have seen myself not being that into it and thinking, thinking it's like just okay. And I don't get me wrong, I don't think it's like one of the greatest films of all time or anything. But I did like watching it. I thought there was a lot to enjoy about it. Although I will say it's currently number 21 on the IMDb Top 250, which is astonishingly high.
Bit much, I think that's a bit much.
Yeah,
it's a very good film. It's not that accurate, is it?
Yeah, it's currently between Seven Samurai, which to find the time to watch, but it's 3.5 hours long. It's like,
you don't. I don't blame you. For
I need to find a date to watch Seven Samurai. It's between Seven Samurai and Seven, which is just very coincidental that it's between Seven and Seven Samurai. I mean, I just noticed that Interstellar is 19th on this list, and I'm like, I don't think it used to be that high because it's not Interstellar either. And it's 65th on the Letterboxd, which is very high as well. Kind of shite usually gets on that list. But yeah, it's a very well beloved classic, and I don't know. I don't think it's like undeserved per se, but I definitely in love with it in the way that so many people are.
I can see why it's beloved, and I really like the film, but yeah, I'm not going around describing it as one of the all-time greatest films. Even though, again, I do think it is very good.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it is like, and I think we all agree. I think I see why it's beloved. I genuinely do really love it. I think it's a great film. There are other traditional Christmas films that I would rather watch, and
like Dumb and Dumber.
I would probably like a Christmas Story, but yeah, Dumb and Dumber could be in there. No,
yeah,
but
that would make sense to anyone listening. It's a insight. It's a.
That's what we were talking about before we started recording.
Talking about it in the green room before we all entered the studio today.
Yeah,
green room chat.
Yeah,
but I can see why it's
room?
beloved, and I love it. But I think, I don't know if it's 21st greatest film of all time, but I also feel like being able, like putting all films in the same category as one being the quintessential greatest film is very hard to do, because I feel like you have to break films down into genre, because they will all have a different approach regarding what genre they're trying to be. Like Monty Python's are quintessentially some of the greatest comedy films of all time, like Life of Brian, but I feel like it's not in the top 20 greatest films of all time.
Yeah, I think why it's so why it gets so high in places like IMDb and Letterboxd is I don't think you're gonna meet many people who dislike it. Like for a lot of people, it's gonna be like a solid 8 out of 10 type film, like 9 out of, and of course they'll go 9 and 10. I think it's kind of why like something like Shawshank Redemption, for example, is like number 1 on the IMDb top 250, because you're not really going to meet many people who dislike that film. Everyone's going to give it like an 8 out of 10 at least. Some people go beyond that. So I think that's probably why it's so high on stuff like Letterboxd and IMDb. I feel like it's always in stuff like the AFI top 10 greatest films of all time. Sight and Sound top 100 films of all time. It's like, I think it's a very inoffensive film, and like it kind of, everyone kind of likes it, so it sort of always gets a good score.
Yeah, I think that probably sums it up pretty well.
Yeah, the plot. So it's got James Stewart as George Bailey.
What was that noise?
What?
It sounded like you were about to go into an impression, but then you kind of wussed out at the last second.
What? Ding dong. Oh no. Is someone's
Okay, I'll open the door. Hello, who's there?
I only clicked on that was a bit until just then. I was like, Willie, what the fuck are you on about? And then I was like, oh, we're in the same studio.
Oh, it's James Stewart. Oh, Merry Christmas, movie house. Oh no.
It's Dan Poppin.
It's in Mary's house. Bill's house.
Oh, what is...
What? Betty the Blood? What are you doing? A podcast recording for Christmas, Betty the Blood.
Oh. Sorry, what's that you've got to say, Jimmy Stewart? Oh, I've seen
it's a wonderful night
murdered in my back window. Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's awful. That's awful, James Stewart, but I'm afraid
sorry, I missed that. I missed that. I sorry, I missed what you said, Jimmy. Can you repeat that, please, man?
I've seen a murder out my rear window. Somebody's dead.
Oh, that did
we are doing a podcast right now, mate. So
sorry. Yeah, sorry. Sorry. Did you just take there's I'm just looking at James Stewart films. What was the murder being done with a rope?
Oh my God.
Okay, let's abandon this bit. Okay, he's gone now. Okay.
Sorry. Me and Mr. Smith have to go to Washington to tell the Philadelphia story. Whoa.
Okay, and if you see the man from Lorraine, then tell him I said hi. That's
okay. Bye, Jimmy Stewart. It might be the worst bit of podcasting we've ever done. I'd always been really aware of it. I think I saw it for the first time It was definitely a couple of years ago at this point. And yeah, I was surprised how little of the film was the whole.
Yeah, I know. It's the
what
I feel like
life would have been like if you weren't born.
I know. I thought that was like the whole film was going to be like the beginning, and that's going to be like the whole film. And
that's the premise, but it's not at all. It's about him running a bank for most of it.
And to be fair, I think George Bailey. I think George Bailey as a character isn't that interesting, to be honest. I think not that he's like a boring character per se. I think in sort of a general sense, the idea I think is all right, but it's not like the kind of thing that on the surface I'm like, oh, this is going to be a great film, because I think, I don't know, something about it could seem a bit too, or like almost trying to have a like sort of emotional resonance behind it that I wouldn't think is earned. Like,
I always think it is quite earned here. I think just because I think you are, even though you might not be the most interesting, I think George Bailey is a very likable character.
No, and I'm not saying it isn't earned here. I'm more making the point that it could not be. I think there's an element to it where it could feel a bit, cheesy. And I don't think it does, but yeah, a bit saccharine.
I mean, I'm skipping ahead a bit here, but once, after he does the whole seeing what it was like if he hadn't been born, and he's back in the real world, and he's running around yelling about, "Oh, Merry Christmas, movie house," and all that. I genuinely buy into it. Oh, that's a nice bit.
So you asked earlier sort of our introductions to this film.
Yeah.
And mine, there's a film, a great film called A Very Muppets Christmas Movie or something, or A Very Christmas Muppets Movie, in which Kermit wishes he was never born.
Merry Christmas, movie house. Christmas Emporium.
And it's the concept of like where you could see the influence of It's a Wonderful Life had really come through. And I was around 12 or 13, and it was really when I was like 13 or 14. I really tried to get into like I love film, I'm going to watch the important films. And I was going through and
Muppet Christmas Carol was one of them.
No, but I believe I watched the 4th Shrek film, in which he wishes he didn't exist for a day. I'd recently started my film bro era, where I'd watched The Shawshank Redemption, a couple other quite important films. But The Shawshank Redemption was one that really stuck with me at the time. I also first watched Good Will Hunting, I remember. And then I was with my younger brother, and we had Foxtel. We didn't actually have like proper good internet. So I had to just whatever was on Foxtel Movies, and Shrek 4 was on. I just chucked it on. I watched it. And I was like, I've seen this trope before. I'm a big Simpsons fan. Simpsons referenced it a couple of times. And so I went down the rabbit hole of looking it up, watching the film, and going, oh, I get it now. Because the Simpsons, they do this, it's in an episode I just watched, but it's like this school documentary, and it's like if the world without zinc. And it's like, It's a Wonderful Life, but if zinc didn't exist. And it's just like, most of our coins would be pretty much all copper. And it's like, there are a few other things where now I can look at content, because I made a decision to go back, and that was when I watched it, was to go back and watch films that have shaped largely American media. Now, when I watch things like a random episode of The Simpsons or something, I go, oh, that's very much inspired from It's a Wonderful Life. And it makes content that is fun but nuanced just a little bit better. It's not just like, they're not just doing Star Wars, you know what I mean? As much as I love Family Guy Star Wars, they're not just,
it's not really parodies. It's like those specials are just like slotting in Family Guy characters, and that's just it. That's the joke.
And they just put some jokes in and do the story.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a parody.
But I saw it largely from, modern content. Like, the Shrek 4 movie is literally a parody, I think. It's like a modern adaptation. It's basically It's a Wonderful Life, but with Shrek.
Yeah, I think It's a Wonderful Life is, I mean, it's one of those it's one of those films where it is just like, it there is just a lot of reference. Like again, there are lots of stories that are just like, hey,
Most
what if-
sitcoms have probably done it.
which I mean, I think that's a very obvious trope, but that doesn't mean that's not a problem though. I don't think that's
Yeah, 'cause it's just an
'cause it's
excuse to
interesting.
play
Get a
around
lot
with
out of
character
it.
dynamics.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like I mean, a lot of sitcoms do that. You know, I feel like that's a really fun idea for a sitcom to do. I think a lot of sitcoms should just do more fun shit like that. You know, I think like I mean, Community is kind of the peak of sitcoms for me. Like every episode is just something different. But I think there's some sitcoms where it's just kind of like I don't know, they could be a bit more interesting, and it's like they don't really do a whole lot with their like I can't think of any off the top of my head that like are immediately springing to mind. But yeah, I think it's a really interesting concept to sort of focus on. Yeah, just like one thing's different, and I
Except
think
as we pointed out, the film doesn't really focus on it.
no, and I
Yeah,
think
the
that's
film really
disappointing.
doesn't.
But I guess the question is, could it have been the whole movie? Because I think the whole point of it is you see George Bailey's life and his life within this town. But if you do that at the beginning,
I
it's
think
like
you could have done
you
it
could have
like
spent-
split it in middle, like the halfway
Yeah.
point is when that sort of stuff happens, rather than the
Yeah,
last
I
half
think
an
that
hour.
would have probably been the best way to do it, and I probably would have liked it a lot more. I think if it was more time focused on that, because I
So
don't
is the
think you
issue
can
with
do.
pacing?
Yeah, I mean, it would depend on how it gets paced, obviously, but because I don't think it could be like the beginning of the film. Don't really have any investment in this, but if you do it sort of halfway through the film, like an hour or so in, then that's sort of fine, and I think that would have worked.
I think what you're saying as well is directly linked to sort of how people interpret the film, because it can largely be interpreted in multiple ways. But the open ending of spending the first hour and a half odd of the movie setting up the all the conflict pretty much within the protagonist's life, and then leaving the ending as open as it is by just saying, "Oh, none of that conflict's resolved, by the way."
Mm.
It was all
He
chipped in for one
he
thing.
still loses all that money, and then I guess people bring it, they pay loads of money towards
He's
it.
still on the brink of having to sell his company to the rich dude. He still lives in a shitty old rundown house. He
He's
still
still
has
got a
his
prison.
annoying wife and kids. He's still not traveling. And although it makes him appreciate those a lot more, I've seen largely two outlooks. One, that the message of individualism versus community is something that's quite beautiful, and that the sacrifices that we make for the community around us, whether it's our family or the broader town, is something that, especially at the time post World War II, but also currently, something that I think a lot of people hold dear. Like, oh, I can't do this because the people in my life need me. But being needed is something beautiful, because if you're not there, your brother drowns in that lake. Like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I've heard some people just go, "Oh, it's just like glorifying the idea that work is more important than family, and that like capitalism is the most important thing. As long as you pay your debts, everything is
Money is
okay."
everything.
Yeah.
Respect the system.
It's like, no,
Yeah.
you don't want to go off and live an adventurous, open, free-minded lifestyle.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're
why
a
would you want to do
slave
that?
to
You know?
capitalism and your community and the people that need you, and you make sure the big bad man doesn't create a monopoly, because that'll bring us into late-stage capitalism. So we need to have a competitive market. You're a small business. You're the backbone of our country. So, like, I don't know. I've seen two arguments where it's like,
Yeah.
it's not received as well by, and I understand it to an extent, but I choose to go more with the beauty of community.
It's definitely an optimistic note. I think that's more the thing it's saying. I mean, Barney, I think you'll be aware of this, but I'm sure you've heard of this before. But from another podcast where one of the hosts wrote an article on 4 disturbing implications of It's a Wonderful Life, the classic. And I think
got no true free will.
Yeah, and I definitely think it makes some fair points. Like, it's in jest, to a degree, obviously, but I think there are definitely elements of like, George Bailey as a character. He's a very nice man, almost to a fault, though. I feel like it, like in some cases,
kind of foolish.
yeah, like he's giving all those people like all those people coming to the bank, and he's like giving like all these loans, like he's helping all these people out or whatever, and they're like trying to give them like they're trying to take out money or whatever it is, and he's just like
Getting loans.
just
He's giving it away.
He's giving it away, and it's like, dude, that's
And
not
then
how you run a
he
business.
starts
Like,
diving into his own money to
yeah,
give them money, and they get to the end of the day and they've got $2 left, and they're like, "Yay, we're still in business!"
yeah. And also, that's pretty unrealistic that a rich person would give away their money to other people. Like, a rich person would be willing to part with their money so easily, and would be like,
It's
"Yeah, just
satire,
everyone have my
it's
money."
satire.
Satire, yes, satire. Yeah, he's a bit of a sap. He's a bit too nice for his own good. But there
He
is a
fucking
genuine.
needs George
But he is also like a genuinely nice. Like it's not it does it, but it never annoys me in a way that like really nice. I think we've talked about this before, but I don't really trust like overly nice people because I'm like, this isn't
hiding something.
This isn't who you are. I don't buy this for a second. Like I'm okay with people who can be kind of dicks. Like, okay, you're being genuine. Like you're not.
You're a human being.
But
I trust you now.
but if people who are always happy, I'm like, you are either you're hiding something or you're on something. You are taking something to make you like this because this isn't how normal people are. I think it works here, and I think it works because it's an older film. I feel like if it was in a more like if this was sort of made,
if it was much more genuine,
either a film from the 40s. Yeah, there's something about a film from the 40s where it's like, oh yeah, I can buy that. Someone would maybe be this nice in 1940s. Like I don't know why that is, to be honest, because I don't really understand that, to be honest.
Because there was no like hock to a Bitcoin. Like people were only exposed to the news within their community. That's why there's such a heavy focus on the idea of community back then, and that's why they're so lovely to each other.
Just
it's
soon
like
after World War II
post-war
had ended.
American.
Yeah,
it's that post-war nuclear family dream. It's very WandaVision. It's very just like nuclear family post-war, like idealism of the white American dream, pretty much.
I mean, do we want to talk about James? Because we've talked about George Bailey as a character, but we haven't really talked about James Stewart as an actor. I really like him. I think he's I
love his performance. Yeah,
a solid things, and I think in general
he's. That I've seen him in.
Yeah, I mean, let me just look at what I have seen him in because I've seen him in a few things. I mean, It's a Wonderful Life.
I've seen him in.
Yeah, he's a Hitchcock. Yeah, I've seen him in Rear Window, which he's really good in. Rope, which he's also really good in. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, which is also a really good film. And The Man from Lorraine is also a really solid film. And again,
I've seen him in the
very good.
The Hitchcock ones that you've mentioned, plus Vertigo and The Man Who Knew Too Much.
Yeah, Vertigo is on here. Yeah,
I don't know Vertigo.
But yeah, I think he's a really good. I mean, he's got that very distinctive voice. It's fun to do impressions of, but we've already done that, so we don't need to hit that point again because we've already.
What do you mean? I'm gonna lasso you the moon and I'm gonna eat up the moon pie.
Yeah, I mean, I think he is definitely the best part of the film from like sort of the acting perspective. I don't dislike. Again, it's not that the others are bad. It's just sort of, I don't know. He's the one who feels the most well.
And like the film screen time he does.
Yeah, I mean, he is the protagonist. It is about him, so I can understand why he feels more well-rounded as a character because he is a very he's the character with the most to do. But we've also got his sort of guardian angel, as it were, Clarence Oddbody, who has to save him so he can earn his wings, which is the sort of his part of the film is he has to save
He's the only other character that
George.
really has some sort of like arc
character.
journey. Well, yeah.
He's the only character with a form of character. Yeah, he's. I mean, I think there's a nice, element to that as well. I think. I think that. Yeah, I think for me that I do enjoy the stuff we see of George Bailey's life, but it does take a while for me to really get into the film and be like, oh yeah, exactly. That's when it's like, oh, this is the film I wanted the whole time, and it's not been that. But yeah, I mean, we're going through very his life, as a kid, and he saves his brother.
Teenage years.
I'm just
reading.
I'm just
we see him get smacked about by his boss at his first job as a kid.
And yeah, no, that's part of the film. Yeah, and I'm just sort of looking at some stuff here. And yeah, I mean, the film is a bit. I don't know if telegraph I want to say, but it is very, again, because this is a film from the 40s, so it's not like, so things were obviously different than how they approach films. But yeah, just you sort of the film. There's so many elements where it's like, if you know what the like end is going to be, where he sees what life was like without him, he would have seen. Because his brother would have died, and then pharmacist would have poisoned a customer. It's like this whole knock-on domino effect, which I think is interesting to look at in stories in general. To be honest, I think there's something so interesting about like the domino effect and seeing how just one small different can affect things. I mean, time travel does that a lot, where like. There's that episode where Homer goes back in time with the toaster, and he just steps on one bug, and then he goes back to the future.
Oh, yeah.
Different, and Ned Flanders is in the world, and they get lobotomized. Then it's like, oh, got to make another change, and then So I think that's the kind of thing I really like in film. I really like that as a storytelling device of like, well, the domino effect. I think that's really.
But it's the butterfly effect. That's what you're thinking. A domino effect is.
Domino effect is.
Butterfly effect is specifically when it comes to time travel.
Yeah, domino effect is sort of. I mean, I guess domino effect is sort of
leading to. Domino effect is things leading on to things, but the butterfly effect is going back and changing something that causes different events to happen.
Yeah, sorry, I was misspeaking. Yes, I did mean the butterfly effect, but my point still stands. I still think it's a fascinating concept to deal with. That I feel like for some reason films don't always focus on. Like, I feel like sometimes they don't delve into that concept as much. Like, as much as I would like, and something like Back to the Future does a lot, but I mean that's the whole point of Back to the Future. But I think anyway, the concept of the butterfly effect is interesting. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's interesting. I mean, what else is there about A Wonderful Life? What else do you guys want to talk about with It's a Wonderful Life?
I don't know. I just find that let's compare it to. I know it's not of the same era, right? But A Christmas Story to me is when I think of a classic Christmas movie that is not as old, obviously, as A Wonderful Life, but it has that same charm. To me, A Christmas Story is that quintessentially. If I can watch It's a Wonderful Life not at Christmas, but I struggle to watch A Christmas Story at Christmas. Like, not at Christmas, sorry. So, like, if It's a Wonderful Life, it focuses on themes that I think are a lot heavier and sort of more important. Obviously, it's love. A Christmas Story is just this kid that really wants a BB gun that can't figure out why he can't have a BB gun. But
is that what A Christmas Story is about?
It's about like dysfunctional families and like the old.
I remember thinking
like it's real coming of age.
Story. I remember watching it once and not liking it. That's my only memory.
Do you really believe that it's shit?
I haven't seen it in about 10 years, so I should probably watch it again. Remember enjoying it when I did it. I should watch it again though.
To me, it's a classic. It's something that I think like if someone goes think of a Christmas movie, it's probably the first that comes to head.
It's a classic. I know people love A Christmas Story. I know people think it's a great film. I know the
I mean,
bit where a
between
kid
that
gets
and like
stuck to a
National
pole,
Lampoons.
like he gets his tongue stuck to a pole or something.
Oh yeah, a double dog
For some
dare
reason.
ya. Double dog dare ya. And then he licks it and then he's like, I'm stuck. Yeah, Family Guy did a bit about that.
It's a very joyous film, and it never feels earned or like it's a very again, I think it is just something being made in the 40s where it's like you can get it's just like
I think everyone's too cynical
was-
these days for it to be made now.
yeah.
Oh,
I
if you
mean,
watch
have we
this
seen
now,
what's happened
people
to
would
the
be like,
world in the last I mean, we've seen what happened to the world in the past decade. Like everything's just gone horrifically. Just all the
people would
so
be
many
like,
bad things.
oh, well, he's lucky to even own a house. I don't know. I'm just thinking about people online. I hate people who voice their opinions online. I'm so glad I'm on a podcast.
Where do you think this is going to be posted?
On the line. On the line. We make the app, we put it on the line.
No,
Do you know what
I,
Family
I,
Guy
I
did?
do agree though. I think this definitely
No,
couldn't
it's
be
a
made.
bit
It definitely
from...
couldn't be.
Sorry,
This is definitely a film
I wanted to explain it.
that like it couldn't be made the same way now. Like it couldn't be released in the same way because it just wouldn't. It would ring hollow. It would be like this isn't. This is clearly outdated, and I think.
I think if they were making it nowadays, it would end with him actually just killing himself. And it would be a tragic story.
It probably would. That probably would be the ending. It would just be like, oh shit, my life's terrible now. Whoop. Gotta pull a Christopher Walken.
Clarence is like, no way, and then he just jumps. Oh, whoops.
Wait, you can fix this. You can fix.
I don't know.
Drinking water.
If it was a movie made nowadays, it'd probably be some fucking post-credit scene where Venom gets stuck in his universe or something.
Yeah, Clarence has to fight the devil.
Yeah, like at the very end, it's like you
the
see
Clarence
like
versus Satan.
the Mr. Pitt guy bloody talking to Thanos, trying to get him all the rest of the Infinity Stones.
No, what they do is they make it like Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, where he's got to get his soul like he's
where
playing
he does
games.
die, and then
he does die, and then
the
sequel,
falls,
he has
turns
to
into a slum.
Yeah, and then he has to defeat death in the fucking. You get
George Bailey and Clarence are dead.
Yeah, William Sadler is dead. Goes against William Sadler as
Starring opposite Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah,
I feel like Glenn Powell should play every role.
Oh my god,
the Glenn Powell.
It's a Wonderful Life with Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart.
No, Dwayne.
Oh,
it's just The Rock.
Fuck you now. The Rock.
I'm gonna kill myself, brother. That's more Stone Cold Steve Austin, but.
No, but the thing is, right, if it was The Rock, he would never get to that point because he's always got to look strong. He can never, ever show any weakness.
He'd
so
go
he would
and
never
punch the shit out of Mr. Potter even though he's in a wheelchair, and he'd say, give the money back to the people. Raises on the ground.
No, Kevin Hart would be the one trying to kill himself, and The Rock would be George Oddbody.
Wait. We're getting too ahead of ourselves. Who does Jack Black play in this film?
Mr. Potter.
He's Mr. Potter, right? Surely.
He is Mr. Potter.
Yeah. Who else? Who else is like Ryan Reynolds? We got to get a role for Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, well, you need Sydney Sweeney to play
Ryan Reynolds,
Mary.
the brother.
Yeah. Ryan Reynolds is the brother of George. He's Kevin Hart's brother. Okay, I'm liking this. This is a good. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. All right, Sydney Sweeney. She's gonna be the wife. She's gonna be Mary.
Yeah.
All right, that's
really
good.
All right, cool. Becomes an old maid.
Who plays her as an old maid?
It's still her.
I've got a perfect one for the Angel Without Wings, Stephen Merchant. If you've ever watched Dwayne Johnson's The Tooth Fairy, he's a fairy without wings. It's literally It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, Steve Merchant. Yeah, all right.
Steve Merchant would also work. By Carl Pilkington.
Yeah, he's Carl Pilkington, and then Ricky Gervais is the brother. No, that would work.
No,
Ricky Gervais is
Mr. Potter. I was
He's-
like, I'm not going to give you your
yes.
money.
Yes, Mr. Potter. Carl Pilkington is fucking George Bailey. Is like, oh, I can't be dealing with this. He doesn't.
I'm going to fucking kill myself, you know? It's not worth
No,
it.
and the ending is he just is like he doesn't care. He's like, I don't care if it's bad. It doesn't care, and he does it anyway. And it's like, oh shit.
You know,
Well,
I'm not bothered.
I'm not bothered, mate. And he just does it anyway. Like, fuck it, I can't be bothered.
Even though it's just, oh dear.
Oh dear. And Ricky Gervais is like, just screeching the whole time, like, oh, look, this bald, round-headed mank twat, just fucking riling him up. And honestly, if that was the film, though, I think it would be over in 10 minutes.
It's
Carl
just
Pilkington
stuff like Mr. Potter wheels into George's like loan place, and he just writes "cunt" on all of his money.
No, there's a picture of him sticking his knob in the tills. Just sticking his knob in the.
I think we've perfected it. Something.
There we go. Yeah, just replace the Carl Pilkington, Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant. There, that's it. That's all you need.
Yep, just those three.
Yeah, and maybe a Warwick Davis cameo in there. Maybe get him in there for a bit.
He can play young George Bailey.
Young George. There you go. And I think that's it. I'm just trying to think if there's any other like regulars they've worked with that would make sense. Not really. I think that's the four. I think Carl Pilkington, Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant, or I think that's good. There. All right, Hollywood. That's the next remake. They should wheel out. Yeah, repair the relationship
22
between
years
Gervais
until
and
the 100-year anniversary. You know, you'll move.
Yeah. 22 years. Repair the relationship between Gervais and Merchant. Get them back on good terms, and then make the film, please. Because I think, yeah. Actually, we should probably.
Not too much.
Yeah, we should maybe film it now because Ricky Gervais is 63. So he'll be like 80 something. Actually, no, it might be funnier if he's like an 80-year-old man.
Oh, yeah, because Mr. Potter's quite an old dude. Makes sense.
Yeah, and he's in a wheelchair, so he doesn't even have to get up. That's true, actually. Yeah. Never mind. 22
Ricky
years.
Gervais wheeling his way off down the street after causing trouble.
Yeah. Oh, and he just blocks the doorway so Pilkington can't get out. It's like, just rolls the one door and he just sits right in front of him.
I'm sorry, were you trying to use that? Oh.
Yeah, and he just grins at him, and Pilkington just is like, oh,
I can't be putting up with this, man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
We put some ratings on the film.
Yeah, let's put a rating on the film. I give it a really solid 8 out of 10. I think it's a really good film. It only gets really great in the last 30 minutes, but those last 30 minutes are this is a really good film. And again, I didn't dislike what was before. It was just sort of, this is kind of I'm less into this. You know, but it's more just, you know, I mean, I went in with expectations of what the film was going to be, and they weren't met. So, and that's not really the film's fault per se. I think that's more just pop culture making me have an action that was not going to be met. But, you know, I give it a really strong 8.
Yeah, I give it quite a sturdy 8 out of 10. Pretty much what you said. My favourite bit of the film is the stuff that the film is known for, even though I do really enjoy the other stuff. Jimmy Stewart's always a pleasure. 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I largely agree. I'm giving it with a solid 8 out of 10. I feel like, I don't know, for what I'm after with a Christmas movie, it kind of ticks almost every single box, but also just the movie that holds
enough German terrorists in it.
Not enough German terrorists. Surprisingly, not enough Muppets.
Well, Muppets would make everything better, to be honest.
Yeah.
No Arnie? No Arnold Schwarzenegger? No.
Put the cookie down. No, him yelling over. No Jake Lloyd. No.
I hate my life.
This was what you house. Merry Christmas and
But yeah, solid 8 out of 10. I feel like its
Mm.
influence is really good. The only thing that would make it better is if you swap out the entire cast and world for the entire cast and world of Shrek. If someone does that one day, it's going to be a phenomenal film.
Mm.
Oh man, I'm gonna get my wings.
Yeah, that's all right. That's good. That's a solid impression. Yeah, I mean, now that we've done, I mean, it's still Christmas Day when this is going out. I mean, what are you guys gonna do for Christmas? We're in the studio on Christmas Day. We record these episodes on the day they come out. You know, we record them and then we put them out for you guys.
Pretty quick
It's-
turnaround schedule.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty early when we're recording this. You know, we've got a. What are you guys planning to do today? You're gonna go see some family, or should we all just I don't know.
I'm just gonna go to an empty room and just sit there for the entirety of the day and do nothing.
Well, I haven't even slept. I've been just staying awake because I'm trying to catch Santa. And when he comes here, I'm going to tie him to a chair.
Bad news,
I'm
Harry.
going to
I
make him
found that
answer him
he
some questions.
suffocated.
I'm going to
coming
make
down the
him
chimney.
answer some questions.
I'm
Suffocated coming down
glad.
the chimney.
Yeah, I'm glad that it's Christmas Day now, so I don't have to hear that fucking Last Christmas song. Like, I'm really fucking sick and tired of hearing that fucking song.
I haven't been whammed
days.
yet. It's not happened.
I've heard it. I've heard it like every day at work, multiple times in a shift. It's fucking hell.
Okay. Yeah,
I
sure.
really
I'm
don't
on the other side of that, and I've been loving the past 25 days of Buble.
Even do
Buble
Last
hits
Christmas.
every spot in my heart.
Mm.
He did not. No, he didn't do Last Christmas, not at all. But we do play Cole's radio at work.
Okay.
Throughout the office, and they love themselves a bit of Buble. They also love themselves a bit of Wham and a bit of Mariah Carey and a bit of Justin Bieber, surprisingly. You know that one Justin Bieber Christmas song?
Yeah, I mean, Christmas. Do you guys do anything for Christmas? You watch any films for the season or anything? Yeah. Have any traditions?
Me and my dad are going to go see Die Hard at the cinema.
Oh yeah, nice. I haven't seen
Some
Die Hard for
steak.
a couple years. I
But that's why
think
we're
I-
doing it. It's about not seeing it in a while.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna go to the cinema, see some things. I saw that new Wallace and Gromit film, but I'm not gonna get into it. By the time this goes out, we will have done a Wallace and Gromit episode, so maybe.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, we will have done it by then. What I missed last week, this is not being recorded ahead of time. Yeah, saw that
Definitely
new Wallace
not.
and Gromit
This is
film.
Christmas Day.
It's Christmas Day, yeah. It sucks that it's not on Netflix today, but you know that's why I had to see it early because I didn't want to wait till January to see it because, yeah, I don't want to wait that long.
There's a screening happening on the starting on the 19th. It's showing somewhere.
Yeah,
near
it
me,
says
somewhere.
it's. Oh, so yeah, the 19th. That was last week. Did you miss those screenings last
Oh
week?
yeah. I saw it then. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Also tomorrow, Squid Game season 2's out.
Yes.
Looking forward to that. I want to rewatch season. I've rewatched season 1 actually because I haven't seen it in so long that I had to
Something to rewatch.
revisit it. Yeah,
With
Harry,
the
have you got any Christmas traditions you've been following this season, or any that you usually follow that you have not?
Yeah, it's just the we're more of a Christmas special kind of. So I watch most Simpsons Christmas episodes. But largely Christmas time for me is quite a social time. We jest, we laugh, we have fun, we eat big breakfasts. I used to devote myself to completing an entire game when I was like a young teen, but I don't have the stamina for that now. But my Christmas tradition used to be just sitting there and playing Spider-Man all day.
Christmassy.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, we just sort of, if we're all watching something, we're all sort of all watching it. Everyone's just sort of, and then nothing in particular where we sit down and watch it. Might do a I think the only one really is Home Alone.
I mean, I think that's it. I think we're kind of done with the Christmas special, guys.
Yeah, I was surprised we kept going for as long as we did.
Yeah, well, thank you all for joining for not only this year's Christmas special, but for 2024 as a whole. This episode of 2024, guys, we're going to be going into 2025 with a 2-part review of the year special. Hopefully, Bunch and Harry, hopefully. Well, I don't know about Harry. Harry is still in the process of moving house, so maybe it might not happen. But Barney is, I think, down to do the review of the year.
Not all of it, but bits of it.
Yeah, I've sent you through what we're covering, and I think you've seen most of it already. To be honest, I think.
Yeah, there's a few more things that I pick up. But...
Yeah, I think I've seen like most of what we're going to talk about. Or things I haven't seen yet, but I'm making a real effort to try and watch all the things because I don't always get the things watched. But you know,
I'll try and do my best, but no promises.
Yeah, if not, I mean, I've seen. Yeah, I've still got a few things to catch up on, but like, stuff that's not out on there, or it's not like easy to get to at a cinema, so it's like, I'll just wait and see if I can somewhere. But yeah, thank you all for listening to this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed. Some things what happened. We had a couple special guests, which may or may not stay in, to be honest. So this may get edited out itself if I remove those moments.
How upset they'll be. They're gonna be crushed.
But yeah, we pitched the remake, the inevitable Hollywood remake that will come out in 22 years time. So Hollywood, I'm expecting in 2046. It's a Wonderful Life. Pilkington, Merchant, Gervais, Davis. Ball's in your court now. Thank you both for joining me for this week.
Thank you for having me. It's been a real return to glory. I think we averaged 90% of the episode not relating to the topic of the film at all. Which I think is a new personal best.
Yeah, that's pretty good for us, to be honest. You guys listen how much editing I have to do. Like we'll record for 2 hours and we lose a solid hour plus of
pretty much.
I really am. But this is what happens when you get 3 20-year-olds together to just talk about things. It will go off the rails at some point. So I'm surprised we kept it as reserved as we did, actually. I think we did a pretty...
reserved.
I think we should all give ourselves a pat on the back.
It was slightly more reserved than it typically is. I think it's not...
Rude.
Yeah, but anyway, thank you all for joining me for this episode. Next week, review of the year, Barney will be on, Harry may be on, we don't know yet, just because I'll see what happens.
Only if you grovel. No.
And I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you've all had a good 2024. And I hope this podcast has been part of that, and I hope you all have a good Christmas, or whatever you celebrate. If you don't celebrate Christmas, just have a happy holiday season. I think that's pretty... Hanukkah, or other thing that is not coming to mind right now. I hope you've had a good one. Kwanzaa, that's another one, and I'll see you all in the next
Merry Christmas, movie house.
Goodbye.